Hey, everybody. Welcome to Live from the Cheap Seats. Welcome to The Cheap Seats. I am one of your hosts, Rick Hughes, along with dazzling David Whitescarver. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm in cheap seat too. I'm doing great.
Awesome. It's the best place. It's the place to have a good time. We got all kinds of good stuff to talk about. There was that little that little thing you might have heard about. The NFL draft, maybe you heard about it. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about our picks. Our thought on the Buccaneers picks and our thoughts on what we can look forward to the season ahead. JPP, all kinds of stuff. We've got all kinds of information and all kinds of news. Everybody. First thing, Dave, tell them what the news is regarding JPP.
Well, JPP last season, if you notice, wore number 90. Logan Hall just got drafted in the last few days by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's a rookie. He's getting number 90. That would make me think that, well, the guy who used to wear number 90 is not going to be wearing it again, or any jersey of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for that matter.
Yeah, I think you're right, Dave. I think you are right. I
sniffed that one out.
Yeah, that's I think you're 100% correct on that. I think Logan Hall is number 90 now. JPP is free to do whatever JPP is going to do, which God bless that guy. Hopefully he makes it because he gets himself in some stuff. But thank you for your service, Mr. JPP. You were a great part of the Bucs. I appreciate you, and on we go.
You brought a ring to Tampa Bay. Thank you.
Yes, and he played an integral part in that. So that I'm happy. Let's see. Now we move forward. The draft in general. Very strong opinions by people on the draft. Experts. I have seen everything from A's all the way through C's for the Bucs from the experts. The fans. Oh, the fans. Allow me to go there, folks. I might as well go straight to it.
Stupid Bucs fans say.
Guys, you were in rare form. I've got to give y'all props. Some of you were in rare form. I'm only going to give a couple of examples because there were so many. But I'll give a couple of quick examples here. Wade Butler on the Buckaholics group. The biggest joke I have ever seen, we wasted a pick on a punter. That's absolute trash of a pick. We could have gotten a cornerback. That's embarrassing. Someone needs to be fired over this. Dave, have at it.
Well, here's what Jason Light did. He had the number 27 pick, went down to number 33, picked up a 4th-round pick, picked up a 6th-round pick, still got Logan Hall, who he wanted, and with that second or one of the 2 4th-round picks, they pick up a kicker from Georgia, which doesn't thrill me, the Georgia part. Otherwise, it was a brilliant move. They're going to save $2.1 million in cap space. Pinion's gone, and now you've got your new punter.
Pinion he struggled at the end of last year. He drafted, look, guys, fundamentally, he drafted $2.1 million on the salary cap. That's what happened. That's what that draft pick was all about. So if you have questions about it, if you're not sure about it, if you think, oh, my God, a kicker, not again a kicker, everybody simmered down.
Hey, look, I wake up in cold sweats. I wake up in cold sweats, and when I dream about Aguayo and I dream about him being the number 2 pick, I still do. Whenever I hear somebody like my co-host say, whatever Jason says is good with me, I go back to Aguayo. I had a problem with Aguayo. I have problem with the kicker at number 2. However, when you've got a 2 4-round picks and you save $2.1 million, you get a better punter. You get a guy who's actually an athlete. He gets into it with the linebackers. I mean, this is going to be number 1, economical, entertaining, and an improvement.
Absolutely agree with you, Dave. I absolutely agree with you. The next guy, John Cox from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan page. I can't believe that the Bucs had traded out of the first round. Wow, what a bad move. No, it was not a bad move. We got extra picks. I believe we picked up an extra. We traded down, so we got the first pick in the second round. Then we picked up a fourth and a sixth to move down 5 spots. Guys, we still got the Buccaneers said we had 5 guys on the board. We got one of them. We knew we were safe. We got one of our picks. We're good. One of the guys. Now, you can always sit there and say, we should have gotten this guy. We should have gotten that guy. But come on. Now, there is someone in our chat right now who I'm going to bring up next. I'm going to bring him up next because he actually is one of the few people who brought some sanity. I think I'm picking up the correct picture here. Ben Cornett, I believe. Yes, brought some sanity to things. With the 106th pick of the 4th round, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select somebody most Bucs fans will complain about no matter who it is. Yeah, Ben, you nailed that. You absolutely nailed that. That could not be more true. Actually, it could be more true because there's one guy who outdid you, Ben. There's one guy who said one thing that was even more common sense than that. Jonathan Hinkle, whoever you are, God bless you. Jason Light and his staff watched thousands of hours of game tape, talked to the players, their coaches, their families, their teammates, and met with these guys multiple times. You watched some YouTube highlight videos. Stop bitching. Trust the staff. Go Bucs. That Jonathan Hinkle, major props to you. You brought common sense into this whole thing, and thank you for that. You're awesome. And now, when I tell you you are so awesome, I actually mean it.
I was going to say, I was a bit confused when you said he's awesome.
No,
I'm like,
he actually is so awesome for saying that. And Ben, you are too for bringing common sense into onto the internet. God forgive you for it, because that's not a place for common sense. But thank you for putting it there. I appreciate it, Ben. And I appreciate it, Jonathan Hinkle. You guys, much, much appreciated. By the way, we have supposedly going to come in here shortly in about 5 minutes or less, Evan Winter from A to Z Sports, who's going to come back again. He was here last week. We're going to wrap up the draft with him. But so we've talked about the fact that, look, JPP's gone. We've talked about the fact that, look, there's a good shot that Sue's going to be gone. Everybody, like SI came out with something today that I saw that said Gronk doesn't need to come back until after OTAs. All right. He's biding his time so he doesn't have to come back for this stuff. Okay. He doesn't want to be a part of the offseason team stuff. He's got this. He can come in on day one and compete and be just fine. Thank you very much. So please, everybody, stop messaging me. Oh my God, what about Gronk? Oh my God, what about Gronk? We drafted 2 tight ends. Does that mean Gronk is gone? No, Gronk is not going anywhere. We brought 1 tight end who's an amazing blocker. That's what he does. We brought in another one who can catch the ball also and is also a good blocker. We strengthened our offensive line. A good part of our draft, we added some depth on offensive line. All right, we added some depth. This team is deeper now than they were last year. I still think Sue's coming back. I still think Gronk is coming back.
I think Luke Gedeke, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Gedeke, yep.
I think he could rival Jensen for being the meanest offensive lineman on the team.
How cool is that?
I think he's got a shot at it. I mean, he might be a rookie, but this kid is tough as nails.
Our beloved leader, the dude, said to me earlier this week, I can't wait to see. Actually, it might have been Johnny Dean said, I can't wait to see Ryan Jensen have to turn and calm down Ryan Gedeke. to see Ryan Jensen have to be the voice of reason to calm this guy down who bragged when they interviewed him, bragged about, yeah, I'm nasty. I like to be nasty on the field. I was like, oh, that is so awesome. It's far better than the days when we had Gerald McCoy apologizing to the quarterback. I'm so thrilled that we had that. Christopher Cole, I see you out there, brother. How you doing, my friend? You said, I believe that Light and the staff did an awesome job this year. Yeah, I think they've been doing good for a few years. Ben, you are welcome. Mike, you said Rashad White is a nice draft choice, and you felt that we should have gone after Damon Pierce. Look, here's the deal. We're going to hear about we should have gone to get this guy. We should have gone to get that guy. There are reasons that the team made the choices that they made, okay? They made the choices and skipped over certain people because they felt it was best for what fits the scheme. And year after year now, since Bruce Arians came here, now, yes, I know he's gone. Nobody needs to remind me.
He was in the war room. Did Brady clear that, by the way?
But since he got since Arians came here, the thing is this, guys, we have a consistent record of him drafting well. Anybody who talks about prior to that, remember, he did not get to draft the people he wanted to at the beginning of his tenure. He had to draft what the coach wanted. Then we switched coaches, and he had to draft under an entirely different system. He had to draft who that coach wanted, which means all the previous draft picks now aren't going to fit the current system because they're changing the system so much. So now half your team is already not the right guys to be playing their positions. So then what do? Then we finally get rid of him. We bring in Bruce Arians. Thankfully, Jason Light brought in Bruce Arians. And the rest is, well, Lombardi history. So
I don't think Zion McCollum is getting enough props. He had a 4.33.
He's getting some props, buddy.
I mean,
he's getting props.
He's arguably the second best athlete at corner coming out of the draft. I mean, that doesn't mean he's going to be the best corner, but he certainly has the tools. And if you got the coaching staff that can coach him up, so to speak, I think you got to steal it in the 5th round.
Yeah. I heard that. I've heard consistently people saying, wow, what a steal in the 3rd round. So, yeah, I mean, that is exciting. So I don't know where Evan is. Hopefully Evan will pop in here at some point. But what I'm going to do, if anyone wants to, you guys are free to join us. I'm going to put the banner on here if I can find it. Oh, Evan's here. Here we go. Good deal. Evan is here. Never mind, you guys. Forget it. Let's add the smart one to the room and apologize for ourselves in advance. How you doing, Evan?
Doing good. How are y'all?
Good.
How have you been in this last week? We're concerned.
Oh, man. I don't even really remember the last 3 or 4 days. It's all just a big blur at this point. So, yeah, Thursday night was absolutely wild. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But fun.
Well, talk to me about your thoughts about the draft overall. Give us a blow by blow.
Yeah, so I look like a big dummy for sitting there saying Adam Schefter was doing nothing but just trying to pump up the ESPN machine before the draft whenever he sent out that NFL front office member said this is the craziest draft he's seen in 30 years. It turned out to be arguably the craziest draft I've ever seen, and I've been watching football now in a digestible format for about 22 years. So, yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun. It was a blast. You got to wonder how all these mid-round picks are going to turn out. Everybody said the strength of the draft was in the middle rounds of the draft. So, if the top end of the draft works out like it should, the top 15 picks, whatever the top tier talent is, and then all these 2nd to 4th rounders, if they do what they're supposed to do, then we could be looking at possibly one of the best drafts to ever grace our presences.
That is crazy because I hadn't heard of almost anybody. Who's the Bucs' best draft pick?
Man, I mean, right off the top of my head, it would have to be Logan Hall. I like Cade Otton a lot, getting him in the 4th round, just what he can do. But in terms of just pick what the Bucs are looking for, and then as a player, it's definitely Logan Hall for sure. Okay. Gadecki's right up there next to him, though.
Yeah, I feel like they did a great job. Like a fantastic job really filling any little need that there could have been. They really plugged every little hole that you could want. I heard one of the coaches talking about them expecting huge strides out of Tryon this year, and that his body, he's like built, I guess, like put some more weight on and done some stuff. What are you hearing about that?
So I didn't get a chance to watch the pressers today. Today was numbers day I have to publish draft reports, but I'm going to catch up with him tomorrow. That's news to me, and that would be awesome if he is putting on some weight, and that would make sense because the one thing they talked about all year last year was his struggles in run defense and how he wasn't picking up the run defense game. So obviously you're putting on more weight. You're not trying to get quicker. You're trying to get stronger and, more of a physical presence. So makes sense. And it sounds like that's part of the plan, in my opinion. I mean, that's what he needs to do. So I'm cool with it.
Yeah. Go pick by pick for the Bucs if you can. I mean,
so Logan Hall, number one, he's essentially a Will Gelston prototype in terms of body and the position he'll play on this defense, except for he's got more of a pass rush arsenal at his disposal. He's going to be probably more of a rotational player this year. I still think I'm of the belief that Ndamukong Suh is going to come back. And if that is the case, Hall would be perfect to come in on, obvious passing downs or sub packages, whatever, really take advantage of that pass rushing prowess that he's shown at his time at Houston. Gadecki, I think Luke Gadecki, I believe that's his first name. Like he said, he's a glass eater. He's an asshole on the field. He's a dude that's going to absolutely maul you in the trenches. And that automatically creates so much depth at the guard position for the Bucs now because you still have Aaron Stinney. I wonder what's going to happen with Robert Hainsey because they said he was going to be in the mix at guard. Right. But now you got to think he's going to stay at his normal backup center slot. But who knows? And then you still got Nick Leverett in there. And then you still got Cedarius Hutchinson, who tore his ACL during the preseason last year and was looking really good. And the coaches were talking pretty highly of him. So guard position looks great right now. It's going to be a fun competition. The third-round pick, Rashad White, I can get why they took him. Super athletic guy, hands. He can fly. I feel like he was a bit of a reach, though. Probably could have gotten him in the fourth. Jake Camarda, the punter. Look, man, you're never going to convince me that you can draft a punter in the fourth round is a good idea. But I do understand why they took him because he can hold on field goals, he can do kickoffs, and he can punt the crap out of the ball. Bradley Pinion does all of that. So you're replacing a guy with a guy who has a lot more upside because let's just face it, Pinion has not been good. Outside of week one in Dallas last year, Pinion has just been average at best.
And like Dave brought up, that just saved $2.1 million in cap space.
Well, see, yeah, I'm on the mindset though, and I skipped Cade Otton, and that's just because I mentioned him earlier, but he came before Camarda, and obviously Otton would be the Y tight end, all that other stuff. But here's the thing with Pinion though, and I brought this up on Twitter. I don't know if y'all caught it. I don't think they need to cut him until after training camp or even maybe midway through preseason because you need to make sure Camarda is that guy because like I just said, he's going to have multiple responsibilities. So if you cut Pinion and then Camarda just bombs out, he ends up not being the guy you thought he was, all of a sudden you're scrambling to find not only a punter, but a guy
that's not going to happen with a kicker.
I mean, you never know.
If you're great in college, you'll be great in the pros, right?
Right, that's Roberto. I mean, yeah. Right. Right, Mike Nugent. I mean, yeah. That's just and then once training camp's over with, Camarda, if he turns out to be whatever, then sure, go ahead and get rid of Pinion. And plus, they don't need the cap space. But I really like the corner they took in the fifth round.
Kid's an athlete.
Yeah, exactly. Absolute stud.
I mean, an elite athlete.
Yes, exactly.
He may not be an elite defensive back, but he's an elite athlete.
Right. Top tier. I mean, that's exactly what you want. And
talking about Zion McCullum, correct?
Yeah, exactly. And you always hear coaching staffs in front offices say traits over production, which makes absolute sense. I mean, don't get me wrong. You still want your guys to produce, but if they've got the traits, you can teach them, you can mold them, you can fit them to however you need to shape them. And you can make them an effective player if they have the traits that translate into the NFL. And then obviously you got the big tight end in the 7th round. He was projected, like I saw Greg Almond's tweet, like Dane Brugler had him at like he was like the 30th, or he was like ranked outside like the top 60 tight ends or something like that. Like it was just absolutely crazy. Like you would have gotten him as an undrafted free agent, but whatever. It's a 7th round pick. Who cares? And I can't remember the last 7th round pick for the life of me for some reason.
Andre Anthony on.
Yeah, there we go. Linebacker,
LSU.
Yeah, the LSU. Yeah. So and then you got him. So special teams guy. Maybe he'll come in. He'll be that linebacker 5 like Grant Stewart was last year. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, but apparently overall, they said about that 7th round tight end, the dude can't catch the ball at all, or they didn't even try, but that guy can block like a mother.
Yeah, that's the thing. They need a guy strong on the line like that.
Yeah.
And I even read somewhere that he lined up in the backfield in college and took some snaps at like maybe H-back or a fullback type role. So,
I think what they were doing, I think they had the belief that he was going to go somewhere else as an undrafted free agent.
I mean, that would make sense because it's a free for all and it's a frenzy. At the same time, though, you're the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and you got Tom Brady. Yeah. I mean, that's a hell of a starting pitch in my opinion. But either way,
Borealis, you think going to end up being the kicker?
I hope, man. I mean, I've been pumping them. I've been pumping them since obviously the end of the season, but I've been off the Ryan Suckup train pretty much since training camp of last year. He had that real bad lull in training camp, and then he bounced right back. To his credit, he bounced right back. And then he was just inconsistent throughout the season. And, whenever the Bucs would line up for any kind of field goal past 46 yards, I didn't have confidence that Ryan Suckup, and it hinders the offense at the end of the day, because what if you get in a 4th and 2 in that type of situation and you can't make a 49-yard field goal, well, then you're going to go for it. Well, most teams would be able to make that field goal. I mean, it's just...
See, Evan, you're too young to know this, but Dave and I remember the days when a 40-yard field goal was long.
Oh no, trust me, I remember those days as well. I remember Adam Vinatieri lining up for the 48-yarder against the Rams in the first Super Bowl and just being like, "Oh my God, how's he going to make this?" I mean, like, trust me, I remember those days.
Now they're going for 50s kind of regularly. I mean,
right. Got Evan
48-yarder, like kicking tryouts are Monday.
Right.
Yeah, Evan McPherson and all them and Justin Tucker, they just make it look easy, man.
Yeah.
But so I mean, overall, I mean, I like the Bucs draft. I like what they did. I really, if Rashad White turns out to be what they think he is, he could be one of the steals of the draft. But at the end of the day, I do feel like they reached on Camarda, or I feel like it was not a very sensible pick taking Camarda, and then they had to trade next year's 4th and use the 5th they acquired in this trade to draft McCollum when they could have just taken him with the 4th instead of Camarda. And I mean, there's a few moves that the process. I'm not judging the players because obviously that's just foolish to do right now.
Sure.
But in terms of process, there are just a couple of things I didn't like. It didn't sink the draft, but it makes me kind of like, wish you would have done a couple of different things.
Looking at history, I get to feel that if Jason Light picks up a 2nd pick in a round, he feels like that's a freebie.
Yeah.
To go ahead and reach on.
Like playing with house money or something.
Yeah, right. Oh, and I remember when we talked about before the draft even happened, we were talking about how it just felt weird that he didn't have a 5th or a 6th. Like he loves those picks. He loves the exactly. And sure enough.
Yeah.
He got a 5th and a 6th.
Yep. So I mean and I think he picked up a pick for next year as well in the whole deal.
No, it was this year's 7th from the Jags. He swapped out one of their 7ths.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Evan, how do you think Logan Hall is going to be used? Because one of the upside to him is he has a lot of versatility and play a lot of different spots. How do you think he's going to fit in early on with the Bucs and maybe long term? If it'd be the same or different?
Yeah. So 2022. We'll put it two ways. If Ndamukong Suh comes back, I can see him being on the field, 3rd down situations, passing downs, all that good stuff. Because Suh, I mean, he's had 6 sacks, 2 years in a row, has been in the backfield from time to time, but there've been more like lucky sacks where he's been in the right place, right time, and the quarterback just kind of falls in his lap. I think they'll put him in on there. Remember how last year they would line up Tryon Shoyinka on the inside a lot. I think
Right.
they'll put Logan there now. That way they can keep Tryon Schwenka on the outside. They'll still probably play him on the inside from time to time. But, I mean, they'll use him a lot like they use JPP.
They have a lot of flexibility.
Yeah, exactly. That's the cool thing is, people compare him to Will Golston, which is legit, and that's fine. But he's also reminds me how he can be used in the form of JPP, how they would line JPP down on the edge like he was in New York, or they'd stand him up, or they'd put him inside. I mean,
putting that dude next to Vea.
That would be fun. Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. Yeah, and they probably will. I mean, they get, because when they get in their nickel packages, they have just 2 down linemen most of the time. Yeah. So he would be perfect right there in those passing situations.
Yeah. Listen, Evan, I want to get you out of here. You've had a busy week. I want to thank you. You are awesome. I really appreciate you being here.
Yeah, always my pleasure coming on. We'll definitely have to chat soon.
Yeah, I mean, it's if we weren't going to make this a short show, I'd keep you on here. But you stayed longer last time. Thank you, my friend.
Sweet. It's all good.
Have a great one.
See y'all.
Thanks, Evan. It's a pleasure.
Wow, that guy is awesome. Evan from A to Z Sports, and always brings the knowledge. He's smarter than both of us combined, but don't tell anybody. Quiet. Don't tell him. Anyway, guys, there's so much about everything going on. The fans freaking out over Gronk and everything. Everybody relax. And Ndamukong Suh, that'll take care of itself over time. We're now into the next part of the year. It's kind of a little slower part of the year where we, basically we'll have very little activity until I believe there's the OTAs come up, and then there's right before camp, there's a dead period of like 3 weeks where you just pray. Nobody get arrested. Nobody do anything stupid. Don't blow your hand off with fireworks. Don't do anything stupid. And that period's coming up, and then guys, game time.
It'll be here before you know it.
Absolutely, it will be. So, Dave, what are your overall thoughts right now as you gut react next year? How do you feel?
Well, I feel better. The hamstring of this past playoffs was you didn't have your top wide receivers available. You were missing 2. That's not going to happen this year, I don't believe. I think that if that was the case, I think they take the Rams out. So you've improved just by getting – the key to me is everybody's just sort of penciling in that Chris Godwin's going to come back day one and he's going to be his old self. That may not necessarily be the case. He may not be available to start the season or start the season at 100%. That is a concern, but picking up Russell Gage, I'm like, we're going to be fine at wide receiver. Yep. So I think that was a huge problem. The defense, I think the breakdowns you saw at the end of the Rams game was a lot of it due to, even though they were familiar with each other, they weren't sharp as far as, because of the injuries. It was like we seemed to think that, oh, he's back and he can play, that you just plug him in and like nothing ever happened. And that's not the case. And I think we saw that at the end of the Rams game. So I think if we stay healthy, that was the biggest difference between the Super Bowl year and last year was just health. And I think you've also improved your team. You've gotten younger. There's always, when you do go younger, there's some uncertainty, but I think they've drafted well. I think they've managed the cap and are managing the cap well. And I think the Bucs are the favorite to go to the Super Bowl. The AFC is loaded for bear. Their great teams there have gotten better, especially the Bills. And I think they're the favorite right now.
Yeah, I agree. And I think in the NFC, most teams have gotten worse. I don't think the Bucs have gotten worse, but I think most teams have lost. The Rams have lost some players. And I think you subtract a little bit, and that makes a big, big difference. I mean, OBJ is gone. I forgot the name of the other receiver. Crap. Can't think of his name right now. The other Rams receiver that's gone, and they picked up one guy. But guys, is gone. So, I mean, I think we're in a good position if we stay healthy. Dave, you hit the nail on the head if we stay healthy. Guys, we're going to call it a night. I do want to address this question really quick. Wesley said, do we need Julio Jones on a cheap deal? If he wants to come on a cheap deal, sure. If
I think we would need, if they don't re-sign Sue for a year, I think they would be at their advantage to pick up a veteran defensive lineman.
Yeah, if we can find one.
Well, it all depends on who are we talking about, how much money, and et cetera, et cetera.
Right. And
but
Honey Badger, by the way, went to the Saints, and that was a good pickup for them. Everybody who wants to say, he's no good anymore, you guys are the same idiots who were rooting for Richard Sherman last year. So, I mean, guys, whatever. They got a good pickup. That's how this works. Other teams make good moves, whether we hate them or not. Anyway, guys, want to call it a night. Dave, thank you for being here. This was a fun, quick show. And we will most likely see you next Tuesday. Correct, Dave?
Correct, Rick.
Awesome. We are out of here, guys. The way we always get out of here. What's the best way to end it, Dave? Always go Bucs.
Go Bucs.
Go Bucs.